Welcome to the Wednesday Night Showdown, brought to you by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. Tonight at Tropicana Field, the homestand continues for the Rays. A very important game as we look at the standings. A series win over the Red Sox. A victory tonight would move the Rays to within 3 games. A loss would drop them 5 back. Boston up by 2 on New York, 3 over Baltimore right now, and 4 in front of the Rays. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to an evening of Rays baseball with Brian Anderson. I'm Dwayne Stats. Great to have you aboard. Todd Callis along in just a moment. Well, the Rays and the Boston Red Sox have battled through 2. And BA, the Rays are hopeful that the home run bats continue to do what they've done in those first 2 games. Tonight in support of Chris Archer, 4 home runs in game 1. 4 home runs last night.
Well, you look at this Rays offense. They have scored at least 7 runs in their last 4 games. The last 2, like you mentioned, they've gotten it done via the long ball. Everybody getting involved. Matt Joyce has a home run in each of the games. Evan Longoria, a home run in each of the games. Loney, Lobatone, Desmond Jennings hit 2 last night. This team continues to score runs, getting it done with the home run. That has now moved them into tied in 5th place in the American League with this very powerful Boston Red Sox lineup, who this guy right here will be looking to shut down tonight, and that is Chris Archer. His last start against the Orioles, he looked much more comfortable and was in complete control against a very dangerous offensive club. He went 7 strong innings, gave up just the 2 hits, 1 earned run, led the way with that explosive fastball. That really set the tone in that ball game. He was throwing it for strikes, and that then allowed him to get to that good put-away slider, and we saw an improvement in the changeup from game 1 to game 2.
He was very good the last time out against a very good Baltimore lineup. Has faced the Red Sox before. That was last September, pitching 5 innings and allowing 3 runs. And tonight he'll face this Boston ball club again. The Rays, one of the league leaders when it comes to offense, and one of the reasons their shortstop, Escobar, who over the last month plus has been outstanding at the plate. Todd Callis examines that.
Escobar loosens up to get ready to face the Boston Red Sox in the final game of this 3-game series. One of the reasons the Rays offense has been so good this year is they can flip the lineup. And the primary reason for that is that Escobar has been right at the bottom at number 9. Yesterday he was in the number 5 slot. But look at his numbers since April. April was a struggle, no doubt about it. New team, just wasn't hitting well. Joe Madden suggested a heavier bat, started using his hands more. Well, look at what happened in May, and now into June. The Toyota trend is that every month has been better. When we asked hitting coach Derek Shelton about the difference for Uni Escobar, he'll tell you why, and he'll also say that in that 9 slot, sometimes he's underappreciated.
Number one, I think he's comfortable here. I think he's confident, he fits in. It's a good place for him. But the second thing, I think, he's really been undervalued. People haven't talked about what he's, made our lineup do. He's hit, 8th or 9th near the bottom, has turned it over, probably has swung the bat and hit the ball as hard as he has, in a while. So, it's something a lot of people haven't talked about, and I think it's something that really has gone underappreciated. He's done a great job.
This is a Web Wednesday. Ask the announcers as they read up to get ready for your questions. You can tweet your questions to @SunSportsRays, #AskRays. BA laid down the gauntlet last night, and the fans are responding. We're going to have some great questions all night long. Those guys are very prepared for tonight's broadcast. 3 minutes, 10 seconds away from the first pitch. It'll be Alfredo Aceves on the mound for Boston. Hey, Gerald McCoy threw out the first pitch tonight. The Buccaneer threw a little cutter. And then on the other side, you have Chris Archer making his 3rd start of the year for the Rays. We'll have all the action right around the corner. Enjoy it right here on SunSport.
Pounding out 8 home runs over the last 2 games. Tonight, Tampa Bay hopes the bats stay hot and that right-hander Chris Archer can build off his stellar performance last Friday. The rubber game versus the Red Sox starts now. We welcome you back to Tropicana Field. The Rays and the Red Sox wrapping up their 3-game series. Let's take a quick look at the starting lineup brought to you by Sweet Bay Supermarkets. Jacoby Ellsbury, red hot, leads it off for Boston, followed by Daniel Nava and then Dustin Pedroia. David Ortiz, Mike Napoli, and Mike Karp down the middle. Jared Santalamacchia hits 7th. Will Middlebrooks 8th. Stephen Drew at shortstop bats 9th.
Now taking the mound tonight for the Tampa Bay Rays, right-hander Chris Archer. His number brought to you by Coventry Healthcare of Florida. Just 2 starts, but coming off a very impressive start against the Baltimore Orioles. 1 earned run in 7 innings.
And the first pitch to Ellsbury is in there for a strike call. First pitch presented by Pinch a Penny. Well, Ellsbury has put together a great streak. In fact, he has leadoff hits in 7 of his last 8 games, including the first 2 games of this series. Fastball misses, and the count is 1-1. Currently on the 10-game hitting streak. It's 21 out of 47 for the life of that streak.
I was going to say, yeah, those numbers are not indicative of 1 hit a night to keep it going. Multiple hits. He's, in fact, 7 of the 10 games he's had multi-hit games. You could see that the first at bat of the first game, just locked in, fouling off tough pitches.
Pitch is wide, says Ron Culpa, and it's 3-1. Ellsbury now at 282, and he draws the walk. A fastball misses. So Archer, who's walked 5 coming into this game in 11 innings, gives up a walk to the first man he faces.
Well, let's take a quick look at the Rays defense as it lines up tonight. In the outfield, left to right, Johnson, Jennings, and Joyce. Across the infield, third to first, Longoria, Escobar, Zobrist, and Loney. Jose Lobaton will be behind the plate. Yeah, and Wayne, you mentioned the walks. That has been the one thing that has plagued him really throughout his minor league career. 8 seasons in the minor leagues. That's about the only knock that you have on him, is the lack of command. And tonight, going to be very important that he has the command that he had against the Orioles with this powerful lineup.
There's a first pitch strike to Daniel Nava. And I think we'll find that both these pitchers getting ahead is going to be particularly important, because when they're behind in the count, they both run into trouble.
And you're talking about 2 offenses who are very hot. Boston doing a ton of good things on the road. The Rays have scored 7 more runs in their last 4 games.
Strike 2.
And both of these offenses can hurt you 1 through 9. They're very deep as far as production, so you cannot allow them free base runners.
Jacoby Ellsbury at first. 0-2 the count on Nava. And a move to first. Ellsbury has done most of the running for this Boston ball club. They're tops in stolen bases. He has over half the steals. 50 steals. He has 27. He's gone. Swing and a foul ball. Just a little piece of it. And Nava hangs in there with that big cut.
John Farrell is going to continue to be aggressive in this series. We have seen that both of these teams have struggled slowing down opponents' running games. So you figure anybody that can go will go.
And these teams really reflect each other in that the Red Sox have a couple guys in the lineup who are particular stolen base threats. Same way with the Rays. It's a foul ball. In fact, they're dead even in home runs now, 74 and 74.
You look at some of the categories that this Boston offense leads actually Major League Baseball in. Runs, doubles, extra base hits, walks, on base percentage. Not easy to navigate your way through it.
First base, he got back in standing up. He just started to move to widen that lead a little bit, and Archer almost caught him in mid-stride.
Now that's why base stealers, when they lead off, they don't take those big steps. They may take a couple early, but then you start to inch out there. You don't want to get caught with that. You see how they just kind of, just a little bit extra.
This one gets away, rolling up the first base side, and a snap to Archer went over there to cover, slipping in behind Ellsbury. A little trouble to corral the baseball.
The Rays going after Ellsbury's knees, getting hit from all sides. trying to backdoor. Ellsbury not showing a whole lot of urgency to get back, and Archer trying to steal an out.
Oh, 2 to Nava. Time called as Archer held the ball out there.
And that's good. That you do not want to get into a pattern. We saw that early with Roberto Hernandez in last night's game. Get into a pattern of coming set, going to the plate, coming set, going to the plate. If you're a right-handed pitcher, you got to come set. Sometimes you just hold that. And Ellsbury start to sink down into his heels. You almost get heavy legs.
Pitch away. Fastball out there, mid-90s.
Well, there are times where you'll get a sign. The catcher will give you a sign that is literally a hold and step off sign. So you're not going to throw the ball to home plate. You're just going to come set, hold that ball as long as you want, and then either the hitter calls time or you step off.
Little count still, the ball, 2 strikes off, speed pitch. Fouled out of play by Nava.
And all the while that the cat and mouse game is going on between Archer and Ellsbury, Daniel Nava is doing a nice job of battling in this at bat.
And Nava, a switch hitter, but the left side his better side.
Yeah.
He's hitting .320 left-handed this year. And lifts a fly ball short left. Kelly Johnson now comes in to make the catch. 1 out, and Ellsbury back to first. Look at Dustin Pedroia up there. Well, in that game pitched by Archer last year against the Red Sox, Ellsbury went 3 for 3 against him. Pedroia 0 for 3. And a fastball driven outside. 1-0. Runner goes. Pitch is a strike, and the throw on the money, but a little bit late. Ellsbury arriving just as the throw did. And he's in with a stolen base.
Jacoby Ellsbury, 28 stolen base, and look at him moving, stop and go. Good jump, not a whole lot of wasted movement, able to get in there pretty easily. Lobaton gives it a shot right here, but just too good of a jump, too much speed.
Now it's 1-1 to Pedroia.
You see how Ellsbury is able to help out his offense, how he affects the pitcher. I mean, Archer, how many throws over to first base? Then he ends up stealing second base. Now you've got the inside move. Really, you talk about dividing a pitcher's mind.
Low, blocked by Lobaton. That's a challenge for now, the young right-hander for the Rays, just 24 years old, making his 3rd start here this year for the Rays.
It's not always about stuff, making pitches. It's about managing situations. It's about dealing with the running game. Not just about the big velocity on the fastball and the really good slider.
And a fastball in, strike 2. Pedroia had his 14-game hitting streak come to an end last night, but he did reach base. So he's reached in 20 straight games. Here's Ellsbury in scoring position. 1 out. And the count will go full.
Well, there's that old thought that whatever you're going to go with on 2-2, you come right back with it on 3-2. Archer's got a great slider. That one not really close enough to.
And there it is, strike 3 call. He came back with the slider and catches Pedroia looking.
Now he made the adjustment and he threw his strike slider. Previous pitch that was not close enough to coax the swing. So he makes the adjustment here. Kind of rolls that one in there right at the top of the zone, but Pedroia not able to pull the trigger. In fact, I think he thought that ball was up as he started towards first.
Well, that was the pitch, the slider, not necessarily that particular one, but the slider that Madden wanted to see him throw more frequently the last time out.
And you can do that when you pitch ahead.
David Ortiz. This one blocked by the Rays catcher, Jose Lobaton, an opening slider in the dirt.
You know, Chris Archer has such loose arm action out in front that he's able to really rip those fingers over the top of that baseball and create a lot of depth. The one that he struck out Pedroia on didn't have a lot of depth, but he will get depth like a curveball, but with that slider being 85, 86.
That's a strike. 1-1. And that changeup and the slider sometimes only a couple miles per hour is different.
Yeah, and ideally you'd like to have, as a starting pitcher, 3 different ranges. And right now for Archer, yeah, changeup, slider, very similar, and then of course the plus fastball.
This one comes in low. Slider registering 87. The changeup before that around 84. He is 2-1 with Ortiz. Ground ball, grab. Loney with the toss to Archer, and the Rays retire the Red Sox. Nice play by Loney on the sharply hit ball, and Archer got over there to cover. Red Sox leave a man in scoring position. No score, mid-1. And the Red Sox in tonight's game are participating in the home run challenge. Tonight, every home run in this game raises $12,000. You can make a pledge by going online to homerunchallenge.org. Lineup for the Rays presented by Sweet Bay Supermarket. Matt Joyce, Ben Zobrist, and Kelly Johnson. Evan Longoria, James Loney, and Desmond Jennings, the heart of the Rays order. The DH is Luke Scott, Jose Lobaton 8th, and Yunel Escobar 9th.
Well, taking the mound tonight for the Boston Red Sox going to be right-hander Alfredo Aceves, making his return from Pawtucket. Last pitch to the big leagues, let's see, that would have been May 27th against Philadelphia Phillies, and was very good in that spot start.
Just so good that they optioned right back the next day.
Yeah, how about that? Those are the games, you come up, and a lot of times when they're going to do that, they're very clear with you, but had to sting nonetheless. Went 6 innings, gave him just 1 earned run, picking up a win.
Matt Joyce chops it to the right side. That's Drew in the shift, and the shortstop makes that play.
Let's take a quick look at the Red Sox defense as it lines up tonight. In the outfield, left to right, Karp, Ellsbury, and Nava. Across the infield, third to first, Middlebrooks, Drew, Pedroia, and Napoli. Jared Saltalamacchia will be behind the plate.
Now Ben Zobrist. Ben has been red hot at the plate. Was on twice last night with a single and a walk. He scored a run. And it says it throws it into the dirt, skipping away from Saltalamacchia.
Well, that is one of the things that has plagued him in his short time here with Boston. 24 out of 25 innings of work, 15 walks.
That's a strike. Yeah, he was 2-10 last year with the Red Sox, but he had 25 saves, and for a good part of the year he was very effective for them, and then things went the other way. Wound up with an earned run average of 536. Remember a couple years ago he was with the Yankees and he went 10-1. High fly ball, not too deep to right. Nava makes the 2 gone.
Yeah, he's had an interesting run here with the Red Sox. You saw the numbers that he had. He's appeared in 7 games, made 4 starts. He closed last year, had 33 opportunities, 25 out of 33 in saves. And over his big league career, he's appeared now in 191 games, made 14 starts, has 29 career saves. Does a little bit of everything.
Kelly Johnson takes a strike.
And he'll throw a little bit of everything. I mean, he'll fastball, he'll cut it, the curveball, changeup.
Yeah, he's got 5 or 6 pitches he could utilize. And you know, we talked about Archer with his changeup and his slider being close to the same velocity. And Aceves is a little bit like that. His fastball, low 90s, 91 or so, and his other stuff kind of bunched together in the mid to high 80s. Popper left side. That's Drew in shallow left. And it's a 1-2-3 first. On to the second, no score. To you by H.H. Gregg. Braves and the Red Sox. No score as we move into the second inning. Chris Archer walked the first man he faced, Jacoby Ellsbury, who then stole second, and the Rays forced the Red Sox to leave him stranded. So it's Mike Napoli to begin the second, then Mike Karp and Jared Saltalamacchia. First pitch strike comes with a slider against Napoli. It's 1-1.
I thought that was a really good first inning by Chris Archer. This Boston offense has been so very good on the road, and they have jumped out ahead of the Rays in the first inning of the first two games. And a leadoff walk to Ellsbury, and you're thinking, not good. Boy, he recovered nicely.
Yeah, this is a tough offense for sure. Scored 349 runs, leading the league in that department. They're the winningest team in the American League. The only team in the majors with more victories than Boston would be St. Louis. Cardinals with 42 wins, and the Red Sox come in 40-26. And they fared well inside the American League East.
I mean, what a difference a year makes. I mean, this team was not very good last year.
Cut to miss. Napoli out on strikes. Second strikeout for Archer. And with that, we'll check in with Todd Callis.
Dwayne, you know it's an Ask an Announcer Wednesday, so we have questions all night long coming through Twitter. A lot more than we've ever had before this year, thanks to BA last night. So if you have a question, hashtag it AskRays and send it to @SunSportsRays. We have some serious questions, some not so serious. Somebody wanted to know if you guys had any nice-smelling cologne ads in the magazines you were reading before the game. But the serious question is, what about the possibility of a retaliation? Do you think it will happen either in this game or when the Rays go to Fenway? And also, the follow-up to that is there some fear that you're risking an ejection if that happens, guys?
Yeah, first, that scratch-off cologne ad, it's amazing how good they are.
Oh, I mean, yeah, really good. Really good.
And we'll save
not so much for my magazine.
Well, we'll save a page. Yeah, well, mine was the Auto, so you know what that smelled like, that Auto magazine. We'll save a page
like
for
a Christmas
Todd.
tree.
Yeah. 2-0 the count. Now 3-0 to Mike Karp. Interesting when those things happened last night. We have a little flare up the way the Rays and the Red Sox have. They do have a way of hanging around and having legs from one game to the next, or maybe one series to the next.
Well, you've got a quick turnaround. I mean, you're going to have the Kansas City Royals come into town an off day Monday, and then boom, you go to Boston and you play them 3 times in 2 days. When you're on the field opposing a team that much in that short period of time,
Kelly Johnson takes care of the line drive.
You've got a chance for tempers to flare once again. Well, this is it from Monday night, and right there, I mean, no question about it. Everybody knew that was on purpose.
And the Rays, even in the aftermath of that yesterday, the Rays were standing their ground as to what they thought went down. And in fact, thinking that in some cases it was unmanlike. I thought that was a great quote.
That was a great quote.
We're going to have to dig that one out.
It was very formal.
Yeah, and Sean Rodriguez.
Wow.
And maybe the best quote of all. There he is. He said he thought it was very unmanlike of Lackey to deny that he hit Joyce on purpose. And he said that's what he was discussing with him on the field. That was their conversation.
And then it got better from there.
Well, yes, it did.
Well,
2-1. Cut the miss. 2-2.
I mean, when you read me that quote in its entirety, it's laugh out loud.
Oh,
funny.
It was very good. It not only was funny, but well thought out. Strike 3. Saltalamacchia caught looking. 2 strikeouts in the inning. 1, 2, 3 go the Red Sox.
Public Library, part of Reading with the Rays program. Read them a couple books, asked them some trivia questions. There's all the kids right there. Walking in, he was like, man, you guys couldn't pick like 10 kids. I mean, there are so many kids there, so much support. He spoke about the importance of reading, why reading over the summer helps you get ahead for next year. And I have to tell you, Dwayne and BA, I was so impressed with how much the little girls knew.
Well, of course.
They're always ahead of the game.
Yeah.
They're always ahead of the game.
Pick a topic. They're ahead of the game.
I mean, come on.
We know from personal experience.
Yes.
We know that.
Yes. I had a conversation with my 8-year-old today, and I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I just saw her a week ago. I'm like, who are you?
It's great. I mean, you love the boys.
Yeah.
But they're bumping heads falling off the couch, and the little girls there like reading War and Peace and figuring out equations and all kinds of things.
Yeah.
That's it.
Hey, listen, the whole and by the way, we say the whole daddy's little girl thing. Why that? You know, that day of them being born, the warming tray, the flipping them, rolling them around. With the boy, you're like, whatever. You do that to my daughter again, and I'll put you in the next one.
Longoria walks on 4 pitches.
They're savvy.
Yes, they are, and so I'm not surprised that they were right there, front and center, and the head of the class when Evan visited the school today. It's just the way they are. James Loney now. Loney came up with that shot off the bat of Ortiz in the first, and the Rays turned that into the final out in the top half of the first. With Evan at first, here is Loney. And he shoots this one foul. And a nice play down there on the carom.
Hey, I'm telling you, the boys can play. They got quick hands.
We like that. That was very good.
They got no showboating, not even a smile. Just make a play. Make a play.
He's been there before. He's done that before.
That's what I'm supposed to do.
Yep.
Just doing my job. I don't need to be celebrated for it.
Loney facing the right-hander, Alfredo Aceves. Rays have their first base runner. It's upstairs, 1-1. You know, back on that question we got about whether there would be some carryover. Well, you wouldn't be surprised. Everybody's going to deny it. The Rays have said, no way. They're ready to go play baseball, but they are going to stand their ground. I think they were very pleased to come away with a win last night and demonstrate their feelings on the field by their performance. Pitch foul out of way. Out of play it goes, and it's 1-2.
You talk about speaking of flare-ups between teams, how about that Dodgers Diamondbacks ball last night?
And a former Ray, J.P. Howell, turned out to be, as he came in from the bullpen and got involved in that more than a scrum, but major scrum, right along the camera well and the stands and the screen. He came in and immediately made his presence felt, and then disappeared to the bottom of the scrum.
How about that? He took Turner Ward WWE style and put him right over the railing, and about as quick as he did that, he was gone.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't even find blue anymore. He was just gone. I don't know what hole he got sucked into.
I know.
But he got yanked out of there so quick.
I did see in the aftermath of some of the footage that he did survive, and he was walking around. So I picked him out. I go, oh, there he is. He's okay. And fouls it out of play.
How about the potential main event with Matt Williams and Mark McGwire?
Yeah, how about that?
Goodness.
I know. They were exchanging pleasantries in no uncertain terms.
No.
And it was great lip reading practice, too.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, the Dodgers have had a few of those. The Padres, the Diamondbacks. I mean, that was...
Yeah, that's a return engagement between those two teams as well. Loney lifts a popper into shallow left. Karp is there and makes the catch. So one out with a runner at first in the game tonight and all season long. Tires Plus donates $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports. Well, along that topic, we were discussing the quote. Mark Topkin had it in the Tampa Bay Times. I thought it was just classic by Sean Rodriguez. Discussing John Lackey, who decided that he needed to hit Matt Joyce. The pitch is a ball, and Sean says it was very unmanlike to deny that you did it on purpose. That's basically what I was addressing with him when we were on the field. I played with Lackey. I thought he was more of a man, but maybe he's changed. I don't know. I mean, he couldn't have taken pen to paper, and put it any better.
No.
So a little levity comes out of all that nonsense the other night. They were on the same club in Los Angeles with the Angels. Two and one. Desmond coming off a big night last night. Out of the leadoff spot, 3 hits, 2 home runs. Up and in. And it's now 3-1. And off speed here.
The ball just kind of running up and in. Anytime you get a pitch up close to a hitter's head, you're going to get the oohs and ahs from the crowd, whether it's a changeup, a breaking ball. 10th there.
And ball 4. Goes with the fastball. So 2 walks in the second inning. That pushes Longoria into scoring position.
And much like we talked with Chris Archer, the same is going to apply to Aceves. You're not going to be able to give this Rays lineup too many opportunities. They had 10 walks in the ball game last night, 1 in a big way. 2 walks here in the second.
And Luke Scott, who has been struggling, is out for extra hitting again today. He's trying to find that hot streak. As we know, he can be as hot is and as cold can be.
And he is ultra streaky. And right now we're seeing the bad end of it, but you can snap out of it at any moment.
He goes for the first pitch. Pops it into shallow right. Nava coming in. That's the second out.
You know, that ball right there from Aceves looked like it had a little cut to it. You know, you feel like a guy is wanting to be aggressive and get out there, break out of a slump, runner in scoring position, and you cut that fastball. It only has to move a couple of inches, and that takes it from the barrel to the label, and you get the weak, soft pop-up. Guys will use that cutter in different ways. You know, Andy Pettit, his cutter's got depth to it, so he gets a lot of swings and misses as well as jam shots. Some guys cut it just a little bit. Some guys will use the cutter as an attempt at a put-away pitch, try to get swings and misses.
Jose Lobaton up here. He's been swinging the bat well, particularly with men in scoring position. The pitch is a strike. Averaged 294 for the year and 375 with runners in scoring position. It's 1-1. Two walks and the Rays have an opportunity. If they're to score, they're going to have to do it with 2 outs. It's inside. 2-1. Much time taken, and Lobaton steps out. Longoria not going anywhere. The Aceves 2-1 with a 239 against the Rays. That covers 19 career outings, most of that in relief. And he's behind Lobaton, 3-1. And ball 4. So that loads the bases. 3 walks here in the second inning for Yunel Escobar. And we know what he's been doing recently. Escobar has been very, very good to get his average up to 250. He's had a very hot month of June, got hot in May.
And I'll tell you what Yunel Escobar can do here. After watching Aceves walk 3 guys so far this inning, you know, this is where you treat the first couple of pitches almost like you're up in the count 2-0. Look for one pitch in one spot. And as the count goes on, obviously make an adjustment, but try to keyhole him right here.
And he bounces this one third base side. Middlebrooks makes the throw to first. Third to first. Well, he went after the first pitch. Rays leave him loaded. No score. brought to you by Mazda. Visit your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. By Tampa Bay Radiation Oncology. When cancer strikes, strike with CyberKnife. Available at Tampa Bay Radiation Oncology. And by Toyota. Let's go places. We're through 2 innings at Tropicana Field. The Rays had the bases loaded on 3 walks in the bottom of the 2nd inning. And we'll take a look at Yunel Escobar. He got a pretty good pitch.
Yeah, 1 pitch, 1 spot. Well, this is exactly where you'd want it. I mean, that's a fastball right down Broadway. He just rolled over it. You know, that's the approach that you want. That's the pitch that you got. Not necessarily a bad thing to swing on the first pitch if he's going to put it there. He just didn't hit it flush.
So we move into the 3rd. Will Middlebrooks, the 3rd baseman, hitting 8th, will lead off. Then the shortstop Drew, and the top of the order Ellsbury against Chris Archer. Strike on the outside corner. Chopped to short. So Escobar throws out Middlebrooks as Middlebrooks threw out Escobar to end the 2nd.
And this is what we saw from Chris Archer against the Baltimore Orioles. Using that fastball to set everything up to both sides. That was a good fastball down and away to get ahead of Middlebrooks. Then he immediately comes in. It causes him to shorten up that swing and just hit that little chopper to short. He only had 2 strikeouts for his plus stuff. 2 strikeouts against the Orioles, but he did a great job of keeping them off balance with sequences just like that.
Stephen Drew. A ball, no strikes. We've seen Archer before in some of his outings. Might take him a few pitches to settle in, and then he'll hit a stretch where he really settles in.
Yeah, he can be a very rhythm-oriented pitcher, where he gets into a good rhythm. He gets locked in on those pitches and throwing the fastball to both sides of the plate. A good release point on the breaking pitch, the slider, and then the good arm speed on the changeup. That's the key for that pitch. And Chris Archer, we saw he was victimized 2 times in that first start against the Indians, where in throwing the changeup, the body slowed up significantly, and he left the pitch in a bad spot. So it was the double whammy, and both of them got launched out of the yard by the Indians, and that really is what cost him that ball game. He was better with it against the Orioles in his last start, and had been very good with it tonight.
Cut a foul ball off Lobaton. Yeah, I thought against the Orioles, he may, on a couple of occasions, slowed his body when he threw the change, but for the most part, it was a big step in the right direction.
Yeah, and he didn't get hurt. The couple of times he did that, he did not get hurt on that pitch. And the vast majority of them were very good, and they've been good tonight. I mean, obviously, that's his 3rd pitch, but boy, when that pitch is on to go with the fastball, the slider, he can be dominating.
Count is full. Fouls the fastball away. We'll do it again on 3-2. Archer, just 24 years old, out of North Carolina. He liked his time at Durham because he was really home, but couldn't wait to get here, as every player has that dream. Zobrist at 2nd. 2 gone. Celebrate your little slugger's birthday at Tropicana Field with the Rays birthday package. Call 855-GROUP-TB or email groupsales@raysbaseball.com to reserve yours today. It's a great way to celebrate one's birthday. Top of the order now, Jacoby Ellsbury. Archer faced the Red Sox the only other time last September here at Tropicana Field. The Rays won that game 13-3. And Ellsbury was 3 for 3 with a couple of runs batted in that game. Archer worked 5 innings, gave up 5 hits and 3 runs. There's a strike, 1-1. And he's ahead in the count against Ellsbury. Two outs in the third. And a base hit again for Ellsbury, this way into left. So he is 4 for 4 against Archer.
Well, that extends that hitting streak, and he just continues to impress at the plate. A couple of really good pitches by Archer to get ahead of him, and then boom, this ball leaks across the plate, and he just puts a nice solid swing on it. Doesn't try to do too much or overswing, and he finds the hole. That's what he's been doing all season long.
So he's on for the second time, walked in the first, singles here in the third. Daniel Nava at the plate, moved to first, and Ellsbury's back.
Keep your eye on him. 2 outs. This is the time you want to get into scoring position. He stole a base after he was walked in the first inning, and you got to figure he'd be looking to go here too.
Ball 1 on a changeup. He's behind him, 2-0. The Red Sox lead the league in walks. They're tops in on-base percentage, tops in runs scored. Ellsbury takes off. The pitch is a ball, and the throw into center field. Jennings up with it, and Ellsbury's going to go to third. A stolen base again for Ellsbury, and the move up on the throwing error charged to Lobaton.
Well, Lobaton had to rush that throw because of the jump by Ellsbury. He got that basically modified walking lead again. That extra little right there, time and go. I mean, that was just a great jump. Lobaton sensed it, tried to get that ball out as quick as he could. You see right here, just does not get the grip, yanks the ball a little bit. The only plus about this is there are 2 outs. So, you know what, Chris Archer, make quality pitches, retire the hitter. No harm, no foul.
3-0 to Nava. 3-1. Going to be out of play. Came in with a mid-90s fastball. And Nava fouled it to the opposite side, and the count is full. Archer got out of the first, leaving Ellsbury at second. Ellsbury's at third here in the third. Nava fouls it back. Threw him a 3-2 slider there. He got behind Pedroia, got a strike on a slider, and then threw him a slider for strike 3 call. (3-2) for the second time to Nava. He fouls this one up the right side.
Archer's showing not afraid to use it in some tight spots, but trying to make a quality pitch here. You don't want to give in and just lay something in there to Nava. He's been able to fight all the way back from 3-0 to full count.
And again, a foul ball. He came in with a fastball, and that one hit 96. So a couple sliders and a fastball. We still have a 3-2 count.
Oh, that fastball was close to Nava too. Speed him up with that fastball in there close. Maybe try to back foot the slider now. And the head out of the way.
And he taps it foul.
And you see that, the slider off of that fastball in, you want that hitter to think, okay, here comes another heater in, commit to the swing as it breaks out of the zone. And that's what Archer's able to do, because that slider is such a late break. When he throws it correctly, and he does it a lot more often than not, he really gets late break and tight spin on that ball. It's tough to pick up the spin.
Deep right, and that one is gone. Nava puts Boston out in front. Well, he went to the slider one more time, and Nava hits his 9th home run of the year.
Well, the thing about it was he wasn't trying to throw that back foot slider. He was trying to throw strike sliders, and Nava had already seen a number of them. And you see this pitch just breaks right into the swing, and he knew it. He absolutely knew it. And that's exactly where left-handed hitters like that ball to drop in. That ball down and in. Just went to the well one too many times.
Now Pedroia takes a pitch down and away. Well, a 10-pitch at bat for Nava. And he hits the slider out, a 2-run home run.
But what a jump he's taken offensively.
And a play off the bat of Pedroia. It's 1-1. Yeah, he continues to be a great story, and he does a lot of things right. He has good at bats. He's worked his way into the position. Number one, just getting to the big leagues, he beat the odds, and he has been very productive. The chopper headed to short, charge, barehanded pickup and throw, safe at first base. Maloney thought they might have had Pedroia as he was busting it down that first base line.
Well, right off the bat, I mean, basically Dustin Pedroia, as he swung the bat and made contact, he was off and running. And the only chance that Escobar had was the barehand. It looked like it was the right call. It's close. Let's see. Oh, that's so close. You're going to get an argument either way.
So it goes as a base hit for Pedroia. Will bring David Ortiz up there. Well, Archer had two relatively quick outs, and then Ellsbury singled. He got ahead of him 1-2. Nava, the 10-pitch at bat, hit the home run. Now Pedroia is at first, and there's ball 2 low to Ortiz. 3-1. A nice easy fastball right there. 2-0.
Archer, when he stays within himself, he's deliberate with his motion. Everything's smooth, and he lets his hand work out in front. He's got a very quick. We talk about hitters having quick hands. He's got a quick hand as a pitcher, and that ball just jumps out of there.
Ball 3 away to Ortiz. Two runs, 3 hits allowed by Archer. Also given up a walk and has 3 strikeouts. And the slider 3-1 is in. The count is full. He's hit the ball hard his first time when he was retired. It's back a third, foul, and slicing out of the reach of Escobar. The Rays employing the shift, and they have Longoria on the right side of second base.
This extended inning starting to drive that pitch count north on Chris Archer.
He was just 1 strike away from having a 1-2-3 inning. And there is ball 4. So 4 consecutive hitters have reached. 2 have scored. Pedroia is at second. Ortiz now at first, with Mike Napoli coming up. He's up to 34 pitches now after coming that close to getting out of the third. Your kid's favorite rock band is coming to Tropicana Field. The Imagination Movers are set to perform Sunday, June 16th, after the Rays host the Royals. That's during Family Fun Day presented by the Tampa Bay Times. Everyone is invited on the field to dance along with the Disney Junior stars. Visit RaysBaseball.com/concerts.
This is why lineups like Boston right now, what the Rays are doing right now, the Orioles, there's such a mental grind for a pitcher because there is no let up. I mean, 2 outs and 2 strikes on a hitter, and just that quickly, the team can put 2 runs on the board and have runners at first and second. You just have to bear down. If you're going to get 110 pitches, you've got to lock it in and bear down on 110 pitches. Every one of them is meaningful.
Mike Napoli is the hitter. He leans away from the fastball, takes it inside. So a 35 pitch inning.
That's why when these games are over against lineups like this, physically you're fine, mentally you're toast.
One inside and now this one outside. 2-0.
You just cannot continually put yourself in these kind of counts.
It's a strike on the corner. Yeah, as you know, a large number of pitches, a high pitch count in a small confined period of time is really taxing. 2-2.
You know what? He shouldn't see anything else. He struck him out on that pitch in his first at bat, and that right there, the adjustment by Mike Napoli has not yet been made on that good slider, the one that has the depth. He missed that pitch by plenty. This is one of those things where you tell him, I'm throwing another one. See if you can stop him.
2-2. Strike three. Came back with a fastball. 97 behind that one to get him looking.
For that.
It's 2-0 Boston. Brought to you by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. Well, we go to the bottom of the third. Matt Joyce, top of the order, is going to lead it off. Then Zobrist and Johnson. Let's see what Joyce can do against this right-hander as the Rays take their second look at him. Walked three. The Rays left the bases loaded in the second inning. The Rays have been drawing some walks in this series, 10 last night, but only 2 runs as a result of getting on via the walk. They converted 5 walks into 1 run here on Monday.
That's the one thing that Boston has done well, and why they lead this series so demonstratively is the fact that with runners in scoring position, they have really handcuffed the Rays hitters. And you look at what the Rays have done against everybody else in the league. They're hitting .330 with runners in scoring position. Against the Boston Red Sox this year, they're hitting .154, and that's been the big difference. And that's why 10 walks, only 2 scored. The first night, how many opportunities they have off of Lackey and the Boston bullpen, and we're not able to cash in like they could have.
Well, here's another walk. Joyce heads to first, and we'll head to Todd Callis. Todd?
For another question on Ask the Announcer Wednesday. By the way, BA's kind of started a little war back and forth on Twitter. He's got some fans that are asking about Will Myers who didn't hear his discussion last night. And other fans are saying, don't ask that. BA will get really mad. So our next...
Yeah, and we don't want him mad by any stretch. No.
Our next question. And by the way, Ralph is chiming in from Kuwait. So we are getting some of those overseas tweets that you guys were asking.
Welcome to Ralph.
AL East, they said in the beginning of the season, popular opinion was it'll be tough for the AL East to have a wild card based on its strength. Now that you guys have seen 64 games and here are the wild card standings, do you think 1 or maybe even 2 East teams could be a wild card team, guys?
Well, I would think that it would be obviously much easier for 1 than 2, and it's still very possible that I mean, you could argue when you look at the 4 teams contending in the East right now, and the Blue Jays still going to be a tough team to deal with, but in terms of contention, you could put those 4 teams up against anybody else, and so they're going to be a couple of teams not in the playoffs that feel as if they absolutely should be there.
Yeah, I mean, you got to believe that at least one. No question one. Two's going to be tough. I mean, it's just going to be a war of attrition all season long. And you just wonder. You just wonder if after all those games and all those divisional games, if the tide doesn't start to swing back and forth and you start knocking each other off, how that's going to play out. You know, with those American League West teams, but I don't know. My gut would be for sure one. I don't think two. I don't think two. I don't think you can have two teams with that good of a. I mean,
well, the deck is stacked against you because, as everyone knows, Houston's really struggling. They're in their first year in the American League in the AL West. You got Texas and Oakland out there, the favorites to wind up in the postseason. And if they play close to the kind of baseball that everyone expects they're going to play. And there's a chopper over the head of Napoli. Into right, the Rays have something going here in the third. Joyce goes to third on the base hit by Zobrist.
And really, what the East has to hope for is that Seattle continues to pitch. They can win some games, and the Angels.
Yep.
You know, if the Angels play up to what a lot of people feel like their potential is, then you could start to thicken up that division and start knocking each other off. And then I think at that point you will get two East teams in there. Yep. But if Oakland and Texas continue to stay head and shoulders above the rest, one of them is going to probably get in. Or I mean, both of them. One is a division winner, one is a wild card.
Yeah. Long way to go, but I would think that I agree with you that the American League East a high percentage that they'll get one in, one wild card. First and third, nobody out.
You got to believe that the Central, that they're going to get one team. You know, it's going to be whoever wins that division.
Yeah, unless there's just a dramatic change.
Yeah.
And you don't see that right now.
No.
One and one, a cut and a miss by Kelly Johnson.
But even so, the wild card, I love what they've done with it. I love by adding an extra wild card, they've really put the onus back on winning the division. Because you get that wild card spot, you're guaranteed one extra game. That's it. As we saw last year, Texas faltering down the stretch, gets the wild card, and then they're gone that quick.
Yeah, there has to be a decided disadvantage for the wild card entry. And so it's a little more difficult now. Two and one. Johnson fouls this one back. Kelly's still trying to find his stroke after missing a couple games with the back stiffness. But a key spot in the third against Aceves.
Trying to take advantage of another walk. Well-placed chop ground ball by Zobrist. Got an opportunity here to get right back in this game.
Strike three call on the inside corner. He picks up his first strikeout tonight.
No argument from Kelly Johnson. Here's a changeup, and it's going to be right there. Kelly knows it.
You know, here's an interesting stretch. Ben Zobrist had a base hit here in this inning. Ray's first hit. First hit for Zobrist now in 9 at-bats against Aceves. The combination of Joyce, Longoria, Scott, and Zobrist coming into this game a combined 0 for 27 against Aceves. Here's Longoria. He takes the pitch for a strike. And that had gone to a combined 0 for 30 among those four before the base hit by Zobrist. Evan takes the ball. It's 1-1.
By the way, I love the fact that we have everybody flared up on Twitter. I love that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you're a persuasive speaker.
I want a
Last
halftime
night.
speech at a football game. Just one.
Pitch in on him, and he fouls it back out of play. Now 1-2. Well, you run into somebody on a dark street late at night looking like that, you'll be persuaded.
Listen, that picture needs to be updated, and I need to realize that when I'm in a rant in the booth, I got to remember that cameras are on and they're running, because that's horrible, and it's in a horrible shirt. It just needs to be tightened up a little bit.
We could change the shirt. That's all you're concerned about.
Well, I mean, the look too. I've got better looks than that. There should be a high left in there too.
Yeah.
I appreciate the high left power finger that you threw me in Detroit.
Just a little courtesy call. That's all.
Yep. Get aggressive. Doesn't it feel good?
That's really good.
Like you're just giving it to him.
Yep.
Yeah.
A ball, 2 strikes, the count to Evan Longoria. And a low liner, one hop, grabbed by the shortstop, Drew Pedroia to Napoli, and they turn it into 2. 6-4-3, a hot shot low liner, and Drew made a nice pickup to start the inning-ending double play. We've gone through 3. It's 2-0 Boston. Ended that, and we go to the 4th. Dunkin' Donuts high energy play, and Archer has been a little more demonstrative tonight than we've seen him.
Yes, he has. I mean, right here with the home run. That's the kind of reaction you see on a game winner.
Mike Karp. First pitch is a slider and a strike.
You love Chris Archer's energy level. You just don't want him to be too amped up.
Base hit the other way. Mark Karp has swung a very good bat for the Boston Red Sox. And he is 1 for 2 tonight. Leadoff single in the 4th. It's going to get the catcher, Jared Saltalamacchia, up there. He's called out on strikes his first time. There goes the bat. Look out into the camera well. Make sure everybody's okay over there.
Well, it's got plenty of pine tar on it. Maybe you need to get that stick working on the handle. This came flying out of there. Did spend some time with Kelly shopping.
There's definitely evidence of that influence. 1-1 the count.
Kelly's bat tosses were Olympic-esque. Hammer throw.
Yeah, absolutely the best. 1-2. Cut and a miss. Fastball at 97. Throws it by him, and Saltalamacchia is out on strikes for the second time.
That's just one of those at-bats where a pitcher just overmatches a hitter for 3 pitches. The 95 to get ahead of him, the slider that he just nasty middle of the plate down, and then blows him away with 97.
Will Middlebrooks. Upstairs. Well, Archer had the elongated third inning. 39 pitches in that one. He's up to 83, 1 out and 1 on here in the fourth. Plenty behind that one at 96. It's ball 2. And that has been the issue with Chris Archer and his move up the ladder in the minor leagues. Great arm, command the issue, and too many pitches to allow him to go deep into games.
You know, his career in the minor leagues is right around 5 walks per 9 innings. But even what you see what he did this year in Durham. You know, he had 10 starts down there through 50 innings. In those 50 innings, he gave up 75 base runners. That's an awful lot of base runners between the walks, a couple of hit batters, and almost a hit an inning.
And he walks Middlebrooks. That's his 3rd walk tonight.
Starting to factor in whip. That's a whip of 1.5. And that's high at any level.
Now the shortstop, Stephen Drew. Drew was 0 for 3 last night with a walk. Grounded out to second, his first time in this game. And he takes a strike. Red Sox about hit the Rays 4-1. And a ball down and in. Two. Archer in his 3rd start since his call up from Durham. And it's 2-2. Drew started after that high fastball, but he checked in time. Archer pitched in the homestand opener Friday against Baltimore. Got his first win of the year for the Rays. 7 innings, gave up just a run on a couple of hits. He made 84 pitches in 7 innings in that one. He's at 90 pitches right now, 1 out into the 4th. And the count is full on Drew. And you could see Jim Hickey on the phone to the bullpen as a result of the pitch count mounting.
Reluctantly. The look on his face, didn't want to have to make the call this early. But this is what, if you're not on top of your game command-wise, this is what the Boston lineup will do to you. They see more pitches than any team in baseball. This is not new to them. Working over a young starter, forcing him to get deep into the pitch count early in the game.
And a cut and a miss. He strikes out Drew. 2 outs here in the 4th.
Just going with that breaking ball. Keeps it on the outside corner, gets the swing and a miss.
Here's Ellsbury. Ellsbury's been on twice with a walk and a single. Outside on the first pitch, 1-0. It's low. 2 balls, no strikes. Jamie Wright now gets up in the Rays bullpen. The veteran right-hander. Two runs in the 3rd. 2 men on, 2 men out in the 4th. And a 2-0 count to Jacoby Ellsbury. And it's 3-0. Archer trying to do something he's not done before to get out of this inning, and that would be to retire Ellsbury. And he's way behind him, 3-0. Picks up a strike. 3-1. Ball 4. So the bases are loaded with 2 outs. Over to 3rd, Carp. Middlebrooks to 2nd. Ellsbury at first base. And Yellowwood bringing the lumber. That would be Daniel Nava, who had a 10-pitch at bat in the 3rd. And hit his 9th home run of the year to account for both Boston runs.
And you can see that swing right there. Everything was in sync and on time. He had seen a number of sliders in that 10-pitch at bat. Finally got one breaking down and in right into his sweet spot.
Jim Hickey's going to head to the mound. You know, we're in one of those moments where you wonder what if. You go back to the 3rd inning, when Archer retired the first 2 men and had Ellsbury down 1-2, and he singled. If he gets him out ahead 1-2, he's through the inning 1-2-3. You never know what could happen. But what happened in the aftermath of that base hit is that 10-pitch at bat by Nava when he hit the home run, and then a single and a full count walk to Ortiz, and then a deep count to Napoli before he got him, and that ran the pitch count up to 39 in the 2nd inning.
Speaking of 39, when he gets to coming into play, when he gets to a 1-2 count, opposition is 4 for 39 off him. It's a 103 batting average. And Ellsbury able to take a ball that missed its location by a few inches the other way, and then there you go.
Well, here's Nava again. The pitch is low. A slider. Nava 1 for 2. Right now the difference in the game, and the Red Sox with 2 outs have a major opportunity. Now 2 balls, no strikes. His 100th pitch of the night. And Nava taking, that's a strike. So an out away from 4 innings at 100 pitches. That's outside for ball 3. 3-1.
Yeah, he's trying to be so fine here. And, if you watch him, the camera stays on him right there. Watch how many deep breaths he's taking.
It's almost after every pitch.
Yeah, I mean, a number of them in between pitches. There's another one. It's almost like the game is speeding up a little bit on Chris. Trying to slow things down, taking the deep breaths, thinking about each individual pitch.
And a strike, runs it full.
And you can see, even as he's receiving the ball from the catcher, there's another one. I mean, really trying to fight himself to stay in the moment, stay calm, stay comfortable. That's what we saw against Baltimore. He looked so comfortable out on that mound and in control.
A swing and a miss. He strikes him out with a slider. Archer throws him a 3-2 slider to strike him out. Red Sox leave the bases loaded, and Archer animated getting out of that spot. It's still 2-0 Boston. Chris Archer spring loaded after getting Nava.
I love Chris Archer, but easy. I mean, that's one of those, you get someone trilled for doing that.
Well, here's James Loney. Subbies throws him a strike. Well, out of all that, just a 2-run deficit for the Rays. It could have been much, much worse.
Oh, yeah. He did come back and make some big pitches to get out of that inning. And you feel with Aceves, if he doesn't get his command under control, and it didn't sound right, but you know what I mean. The Rays are going to get their chances against him.
Down to first. Napoli unassisted. Pony is 0 for 2 in the first out in the home half of the fourth. Fredo Aceves out of Mexico, out of Sonora, making his first major league start since the end of May on the 27th when he pitched against the Phillies. Desmond Jennings looks at a strike. Aceves in 2-1 on the year, a win over the Indians at Cleveland. That was in April, and then a win over the Phillies. His loss to Oakland. It's 1-1. It's 5 innings in his first start of the year against Baltimore, and then 5 against Cleveland, won that game. 3 1/3 against Oakland, lost it. 6 against the Phillies in that win. In the bottom of the fourth, right now he's made 57 pitches. Chopped to short, charged by Drew. 2 gone, 2 ground ball outs. Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game. Brought to you by Miller Lite. Here's Luke Scott. And a first pitch strike. Shift on with Pedroia in shallow right field for Scott. He fouls it back. That's going to be out of play.
Hey, just a little follow-up to the Dodgers Diamondbacks deal.
Yep.
A number of the Dodgers players have publicly stated that nothing's been settled and this isn't over.
Yeah.
They play 10 more times. So I think you probably look for this to continue on.
Well, those things have a way of doing that. Swing and a miss. Scott out on 3 pitches. We're at the end of 4, and it's 2-0 Boston. It's time now for the Just for Men Auto Stop foolproof stat. And in an era when the strikeout has become fairly commonplace, every year more strikeouts. How about this one? Active players with more walks than strikeouts. Albert Pujols. Then Pelton Maurer and Dustin Pedroia. So interesting collection right there. Some power. And then Pedroia with occasional power. A guy with a smaller strike zone, but he doesn't get shortchanged up there when he swings the bat.
No, he doesn't. The one, consistent thing about those guys, all very good quality hitters. We talk about a guy who's on a hot streak for 2 weeks that, we highlight the fact that he's more walks than strikeouts during that time frame. How about for a career? That's absurd.
Dustin Pedroia leads off the 5th against Kyle Farnsworth. And the pitch is a strike.
Those are also guys that Joe Madden would say have organized their strike zone quite well.
And he's probably right.
Yes, he would.
Tap back to Farnsworth. Toss to first, and that is out number 1. There's another guy who's always right. Todd Callis.
Sometimes. Every once in a while you get lucky. Hey, B.A., you're not going to have to answer the question about Will Myers because they're going to let me answer this question. But I'm going to have a follow-up about David Price. Let's talk about both those guys. David Price will throw a simulated game tomorrow. Rays hoping all goes well, and then he begins a minor league rehab after that. So he'll face some live hitters. And all the questions about Will Myers is when will he be here? Whose spot will he take if he comes here? You can see what he's done in June. Phenomenal numbers. You take that even further back to the end of May. He has 1 home run every other game and about an RBI and a half per game. The question is about David Price's simulated game as the ball goes off Kyle Farnsworth's foot. And James Loney will flip it back to Farnsworth for the old 1-3-1, retiring David Ortiz. What is a simulated game? The viewers want to know, guys.
No, a simulated game is nothing more than David Price is going to go down and warm up as if he were starting a regular game. He would go through his normal warm-up routine, go to the bullpen, and throw his, warm-up pitches down there with Jim Hickey, and then he's going to go down and sit for a couple of minutes, however long it is, before he goes out and takes the mound. And then what happens from that point on is you get a couple of hitters that want to get some extra work in, see some live pitching, and David's going to go through and pitch to these guys. Sometimes you have a couple of fielders out there. Most of the time it's not his trajectory off the bat, and you just go through an inning, throw the 15 to 20 pitches, whatever they're going to put aside for the inning, getting outs and swings and everything else. Kyle Farnsworth caught Mike Napoli there, and then you're going to sit. You'll go down and sit, and they'll have a timed, however long it is, a few minutes, 5 minutes. Go back out and throw another inning, and usually you start out around 3 or 4 innings of a simulated game, and it's just a way to get you out there in the routine of going out, throwing an inning's worth of pitches, and then sitting, simulating the sitting in between, re-warming up, and doing that. So it gets you kind of a jump start for the real thing.
Yeah, and if things go well, then the rehab starts, and they're hoping maybe by the end of this month, they'd like 3 or 4 starts before the All-Star break. 4 would mean probably the end of this month. Carp fouls it back with Napoli at first after being hit by that pitch.
But you figure his first bullpen session was 22 days, I believe, after he came out of that game. And then, add a couple more days till the next one, simulated game. By the time he gets out there, it's going to be in a real game where the environment is not being controlled. It's going to have been a month. And, so you have to build that pitch count back up to where when you do come back, you're not stuck at 75, 80 pitches. You've got to come back and be ready to go full boat, whatever they're going to get you, 110.
1-1 to Carp. 2 outs. Napoli at first. There was some talk about Farnsworth maybe going on the DL. He didn't think much of that idea.
Apparently not.
It's a 2-1 count.
Well, that was that game too that the Rays went 14 innings, had to use up basically the entire pitching staff. Cesar Ramos you know, 3+ innings in 2 straight days, only able to get a third of an inning out of Kyle Farnsworth.
Runner takes off, and there's no throw. Lobaton could not get that ball out of his mitt. And Napoli has a stolen base.
You get hit by the pitch, you're not expecting Napoli to run, but again, these two teams have had trouble slowing down the running game, and both are aggressive on the base paths. Napoli, great jump. Not a play to be made.
Yeah, that's his first stolen base of the year, which is not surprising.
No. Well, he was treated as a guy who had no stolen bases. No one paid any attention.
2-1. Karp lifts it into left. Johnson backing up and making the catch. Man left on second. Bottom of the 5th coming up. 2-0 Boston. By your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Visit your Honda dealer for great lease and finance deals on fuel-efficient Hondas. By Checkers, Feast On. And by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most innovative lineup ever. Shop at ChooseNissan.com. Home half of the 5th. The Rays will send Jose Lobaton up there against Alfredo Aceves. And the first pitch hit on the ground, but right at Napoli at first, who makes the play unassisted. Rays have only the 1 hit. That was the chopper by Zobrist up the right side. Came in the 3rd. And here's Escobar. Rays had a good shot in the 2nd inning when Aceves walked the bases loaded with 2 outs, and Escobar grounded out. And there's a ground ball, going to get through this time to the left of Drew. The Rays pick up their 2nd hit.
You know, Escobar wasting no time, gets another pitch out over the plate. This one he hammers right back up the middle. You know, and with the struggles of Chris Archer tonight, able to just hold the Red Sox to those 2 runs in his 4 innings, even with the elevated pitch count, and the Rays still down just 2 runs. I mean, you're talking about one mistake from this game being tied up.
Well, here's Matt Joyce, a guy who could do it. Joyce still looking for his first career hit off of Aceves. He He walked in the third inning. 0 for 7 otherwise against this right-hander. And homered against the lefty, John Lester, last night. In the dirt. Now an attempt to advance. And Escobar is out. Nice recovery by Saltalamacchia, and his throw down to Drew in time to get Escobar.
Well, Joe Madden likes his base runners to be aggressive, and Escobar trying to advance. You see right here, get the secondary lead, and then he immediately goes. But Saltalamacchia, quick hop to that ball and a strong throw to get him.
So the bases are empty. And there's a strike to Matt Joyce. Foul ball. 2-2. Sebes grew up in Mexico. His father played in the Mexican League for a long time. A line drive, and it's fair. Up the right field line. Back into the corner. And Joyce is in safely with a double. It doesn't make any difference if he hits first or ninth or goes back to lead off. He shoots a two-base hit here to give the Rays a scoring opportunity in the fifth.
Well, hammer it right through the shift, and Matt Joyce gets this pitch on the outer half and just rifles it. Great coverage right there. Pulls that ball right down into the corner.
And here's Ben Zobrist
trying to break out of that funk, runners in scoring position against this Boston staff.
And a strike. Rays have stranded 4 men tonight, 3 in scoring position. Room and makes the catch, retiring the Rays in the fifth. Couple of hits, a man left. 2-0 Boston through 5. What's coming up tomorrow on Rays Live, the pregame show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Rays and the Royals preview, and then a look at the bottom three of the Rays order, and Longoria finding his groove. Well, this Rays offense has been very good top to bottom. And here's the pitch down to Saltalamacchia. It's a strike. The foul ball down the left side, and that's out of play. 2 strikes.
I'm sorry. Oh my God. I was trying to demonstrate. A swing, and I knocked your cup and the Boston media guide right out of the booth.
Yeah, someone in the stands. I hope they're okay. They're catching up on the Red Sox, and everybody in their organization is just
a little underneath it.
Just kind of dropped right out of the sky, and now they'll be Red Sox experts. Pitch down. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
That was a horrible feeling. To knock all that.
I was very interested in what you were saying until things started flying out of the booth.
I don't even remember what I was saying.
2-2 line drive. That ball caught by Zobrist in short right field. The shift works out again. And that's the first out. Fortunately, we do have a little ledge here in front of the booth.
The cup.
And so the refreshment, the container is there, and we'll probably be able to retrieve that.
Let's see the media guide.
No, is that the media guide?
No, that's not. Those are papers.
Yeah, those are just papers that also went flying.
Also,
but the media guide made it beyond the ledge.
Well, I did connect with the media guide.
Yeah.
I caught it flush.
Fastball fouled by Middlebrook, strike 1. Somebody down there is going, what are those guys doing up there? What is going on?
I have to believe that there's more than one person saying that.
It's been said before. A strike to count on Middlebrooks. Farnsworth working his second inning. It's 1-1. At the Rays media guide, I'm going to move this one to the other side.
I'm not going to swing anymore.
2-1. I just hope we make it through the top of the 6th. That's all.
Started to come unglued up here.
And the pitch is a strike. 2-2. I'm glad to know that you're going to clean up your act. 2-2, a swing and a miss. Middlebrooks out on strikes. It's the 8th strikeout for Rays pitching. Archer had 7 in the 4 innings he worked.
Kyle Farnsworth just climbing the ladder there on Middlebrooks, and that is going to bring his night to an apparent end.
Joe Madden out to the mound. Time for the Metro PCS call to the bullpen, just in the nick of time. 24-hour sports network. Fox Sports 1 will be your home for great live sports. All the news and highlights you want, and shows and specials that only Fox can bring you. Fox Sports 1 coming August 17th. Base is empty, 2 outs, and Jamie Wright will take over with Stephen Drew coming up. So Farnsworth pitched an inning in 2/3 in relief of Chris Archer, and now it's Jamie Wright. First pitch is a strike. Still a 2-0 ball game. Archer worked 4 innings. Wright's on for the 29th time. One and one. Red Sox have stranded 7. The Rays have stranded 5. Both teams have left the bases loaded in at least 1 inning. One and two. Down to the bullpen area again with a foul ball. Souvenir. 2-2. Full count. Wright pitched an inning in the 14-inning game Monday night. And it's popped up by Drew. Escobar from short into the outfield after it. And that takes care of Boston in the 6th. Bottom of the inning coming, 2-0 Boston. They videotaped your
Well, it's a good thing I got
coming to the rescue.
Come on.
I mean, there will be refreshments.
That was even better than last year. There will be breakfast.
Meanwhile, back to the game. 2 strikes. The count to Kelly Johnson as he faces Aceves. Foul ball dislodges the mask of Santalamacchia. Longoria next, and then Loney. Johnson out on strikes. 1 away here in the 6th. We'll take a look at tonight's AT&T social media poll. Who do you think will lead the Rays in home runs this season? TV1, Matt Joyce. TV2, Evan Longoria. TV3, Kelly Johnson. TV4, James Loney. Or TV Other, not yet called up. Tweet your vote to @SunSportsRays. Evan Longoria takes one too low. Right now, Joyce and Longoria each with 12. Johnson with 10 home runs. Those 3 in double figures. There's a high shot deep to center field, and that baby's gone. Long shot by Longoria to get the Rays on the board, and that's number 13 for Evan. Well, that poll came at a most appropriate time as Evan Longoria hits a blast to center field to make it 2-1.
No, he's homered in every game in this series. And this one may be the most impressive. He catches his pitch out in front of the plate, and just to the right field side is center. And that ball just kept going and going and going. Wow.
That's Evans' first hit off Aceves. He'd gone 0 for 8 against him and homered to center. Now here's Loney shooting one foul out of play. Here's the home run again.
It was towering. And you see Ellsbury just run out of room and then right off the facing.
That restaurant out there in center field.
9 home runs in this series. Rays had 4 in game 1, 4 last night. Now the home run tonight. It's 1-1. '75 home runs for the Rays this year. It's 2-1. Left side, Little Brooks, and Loney is the second out. Miller is the lefty, Tazawa the right-hander for Boston in the bullpen.
Well, certainly shaping up to be a battle of the back ends of the bullpen. Aceves 5 2/3 strong innings so far here. The Rays have stayed in this game and reached their back end.
Desmond Jennings looks at a strike.
Right there, you've got McGee, Peralta, potentially Rodney lurking.
Jennings lays off the pitch. Slider down and away. Desmond back in the leadoff spot last night. Hit 2 home runs. He's 6th tonight. He fouls it back. We got a fastball there. Fouled it. Chopper charged by Drew. Throw to first in time, and the Rays are out in the 6th. The home run by Evan Longoria gets the Rays on the board. His 13th of the year. It's 2-1 Boston.
Inning. Don't forget this Sunday will be these Jeremy Hellickson headphone giveaways courtesy of Metro PCS, and Hellickson will be these Hellickson headphones will be given to the first 10,000 kids 14 and up. There's Jeremy trying them on before the game. He said he really likes them. They're actually a great item, guys. The cushioned earpiece, one of the best giveaway items you will ever see. Go to RaysBaseball.com for more information. Question from the fans is, what is your guys' favorite giveaway item in Rays history? That's our latest in our Twitter Ask the Announcers Wednesday. Go to @SunSportsRays with your questions. Hashtag #AskRays.
Jacoby Ellsbury takes a curveball to begin the 7th inning, and it's in there, a strike, giving Jamie Wright the advantage in the count. Ellsbury's been on 3 times tonight. 1 ball, 1 strike to count.
What was your favorite, Dwayne? I can give you a minute to think and jump in.
Okay. Yeah,
there's some,
might have to take a while.
There's some obvious ones. You know, the Madden Gnome is pretty cool this year. The Zim Bear from last year.
Yep.
I like the apron. I'm going to love the apron, actually.
Yeah, that has great utilitarian value for you.
Tried it on the other day.
Yeah.
Very good, high-quality apron for the grill. But I'm going to have to go back a few years and go with, and this is a personal choice because it allowed for a great segment on the pregame show, but it was the Evan Longoria cereal bowl, and we got to get into a nice discussion about how cereal when you're a kid is very fun and it's, you know, fruity and sugary and all that, and then as you get older, cereal becomes more of a functional type of food. You know what I mean? You know where I'm going with that.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, and it just made for a wonderful segment with Todd and the looks on his face. So I'm going to go with the Evan Longoria cereal bowl because of that.
Wow.
And by the way,
yes,
still have 2 of them, and the kids still use them.
Well, they've stood the test of time.
They have.
Serve a great purpose and sturdy.
They are sturdy.
Yep.
They have handled many a dishwasher cycle.
You know, the Rays through the years have, who knows that there were awards for this, but they have been recognized for some of the best promotional items in baseball.
Yeah.
So they're very discriminating in determining what those items are going to be, and so there are a lot of really good ones. It's hard to think that one could top the Zimberry.
Well,
you know,
yeah,
because it had a personality and a feeling all of its own.
Yeah, it was unique. It was creepy. A lot of things at play there.
Yeah. Still 2-2 to Ellsbury.
And by the way, it was so popular that there was a duo.
Yeah, and it really disrupted Zim's life because he had so many friends who wanted one. Remember that shot of him, and he's going, I have so many, I can't keep them all. The people are calling me, they want them.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. It's fun to get him going.
Oh, yeah. Ellsbury out on strikes, finally keeping him off the bases.
You'd think that I could go off on a rant up here. Get Zim wound up, and then let him go.
I've seen that.
That's right.
All the way back in the Chicago days.
That's right.
And then here, he's just a treat. The same way that you're a treat.
Oh, thanks.
There you go. Hey, a bullpen call going to be made here apparently. Joe Madden out, and so for Metro PCS, the call to the bullpen. Chris Archer pitched 4 innings, made 103 pitches, and Joe Madden has piecemealed the last few innings together with Farnsworth, Wright, and now McGee.
Yeah, and they've done their job. They have held Boston to those 2 runs. The Rays have cut that deficit in half, and now you get to the back end of your bullpen. Guys that are throwing the ball well. Jake McGee's been great. You figure you're going to see Joel Peralta at some point, and you buy yourself a couple more innings to get that next run and hopefully take the lead.
Daniel Nava has accounted for both Boston runs. He had a 10-pitch at bat in the 3rd against Archer and belted a slider out of here. First pitch from McGee, 95 the heat, and that's a strike. Outside, says Ron Culpa. Wright struck out Ellsbury. Two balls and a strike. Wright got Drew to end the 6th, then Ellsbury to open the 7th. And now it's McGee against Nava. fastball. 2-2.
These hitters are going to take big cuts at Jake McGee because you know what you get. You know you're going to get that power fastball. And Nava trying to leave right there, and he pulls off that offering for Jake. Thing is, with Jake McGee and that fastball, you don't need to take a huge swing. A nice smooth swing, get that barrel to the baseball in a timely manner. The power is being supplied by the big fella on the mound.
Foul ball back at 97.
You take a nice smooth swing and make contact at a good spot, that ball's going to jump off your bat.
Top of the seventh, 2-1 Boston. Junichi Tazawa continues to throw in the bullpen for the Red Sox. 2-2, popped up right side, foul near the stands. Loney over there, runs out of room. Tazawa, they have 6 innings out of his 7. He's making a spot start coming up from Pawtucket. So John Farrell has the bullpen ready. Well, we've seen Nava consistently run some deep counts in this series. Not this time. Out on strikes, 98. He did see 7 pitches, 2-2 count, and that big fastball got him.
Well, 98 up in the zone, so hard to get on top of. That's exactly what Daniel Nava's trying to do, and not successful. He's just hoping that he foul-tipped that. And Lobaton was not able to come down with it, but not to be.
10 strikeouts for Rays pitching tonight. The hitter is Dustin Pedroia. And a strike on him. Two. Pedroia with just 1 official at bat against McGee. He's 0 for 1. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Upstairs, 2-2. McGee will make another 2-2 pitch. Jake pitched the 9th inning last night. Picked up a strikeout. The Rays 8-3 win. Pitched 1 inning in the game Monday. And just a bit outside at 97. And the count is full to Pedroia.
A close pitch here, but this ball is going to be off the plate. Good call.
McGee's 3-2 to Pedroia. Pedroia battling, fouls it. Stays alive, fouling that 97-mile-per-hour fastball away.
We've seen this all night long, these Boston hitters working Rays pitchers. High pitch counts, that's what cost Chris Archer his night, 4 innings.
103 pitches for Archer in 4 innings. Another foul ball. Fastball might have been up a little, but Pedroia was not taking any chances.
He's already been called out on strikes looking once. Not going to let it happen again. He thought that pitch, it was a breaking ball by Archer, and he thought that was up. So anything borderline up there, he's going to be taking a rip.
Ninth pitch of the at-bat, and boy, he breaks that bat in half. That ball fouled up the left side, and that bat just split in half. Not much left in Pedroia's hand.
No. Sheared that right in half. He's not corking.
3-2 one more time and a foul ball back. How about this battle now? It's a 10-pitch at bat.
One heater after another. I mean, you know, both sides know exactly who's going to be better. Who's going to execute right now, fighting to a draw.
Fly ball to left. Kelly Johnson makes the catch. 11 pitches to get Pedroia. 7th inning stretch time at the ballpark. It's 2-1 Boston.
And check it out, Grill Masters. Let me introduce you to this weekend's ticket tandem. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday against the Royals. You can buy a special ticket called Ticket Tandem. tandem, brought to you by the Tampa Bay Times. And with it becomes this apron right here, because let's face it, BA, I heard you telling us earlier, you never want to grill with your jersey on. It could get too messy, right?
Hey, you're not kidding. You're not kidding. That right there. And it's a high quality.
It is.
Yes, material.
I'm guessing it's flame retardant. I'm hoping.
It is.
Okay.
It is. That's what that feel is. I'm telling you.
It's nice. It feels good on.
You look fantastic, Kelly.
You be the judge.
I just was.
Luke Scott will open the bottom of the 7th inning. He is facing Junichi Tazawa. Tazawa following a semis. Scott 0 for 2. First pitch is a strike. The count. Six innings for Seves, 84 pitches. He gave up a run on the Longoria homer. 4 hits. He struck out 3 and walked 4. But a tough stretch for Luke Scott. Is foul back, a fastball. Luke right now is 7 of his last 57. That's a tough stretch.
Yeah, well, and you remember that stretch he had last year where he went, I mean, I don't know, for 40 or whatever it was. And the thing is, I mean, just as quickly as it's gone south, if and when he does drop one in there and get a big hit, he can turn it around and all of a sudden start to almost carry you for a while. Hoping that that's coming soon.
Fouls it. In the meantime, the Rays have been scoring runs. 8 last night, 8 the night before, 7 the day before that, 8 in the Saturday game against Baltimore. Strikes. Split got him. 1 out in the 7th.
Now Tazawa does have a good splitter and he can put you away. You see the grip. 2 strikes. Keeps it in the middle of the plate and look at the finish.
Jose Lobaton. Lobaton has walked and grounded out. Fly ball to center. Ellsbury takes care of that. So 2 gone. With the bases empty, and Escobar is going to be up here. We've already got some feedback.
Yeah.
On your description of the Zim Bear.
I've gotten word. Word that the Zim family is not very happy with me after calling the Zim Bear creepy.
I got you. So wanted to make sure that she didn't think it was.
And I think that I'm more afraid of her than Zim, and I'm very afraid of Zim.
Yeah, there you go.
Don't look at it too long, though.
See, look how great that is. See?
Look at with the psychedelic background, too.
Yeah.
You just start tripping out, man.
That's great. Yeah, it's tough to beat. It really is. And apparently she just wanted to reiterate that she thinks that was by far the best item. No question.
Well, listen, of all of the items that have been given away, you can't argue with this fact. It's the only one I think that there's ever been a redo. The demand was so high that it was like, you know what, later in the season, we have to reorder and we have to do it again. So that speaks for itself. And I think that does say, mine was just a personal preference, and I'm going to be escorted to my car tonight. That's all I'm telling you. Security.
Foul ball out of play. It's 1-2. Well, there you go. We're just making friends and influencing people and having a good time.
How badly do we need a road trip?
Oh,
we need to get out of here.
Yeah, they may run us out of town. We might not have a decision on that.
They tried to leave us in Miami.
They ran us out of there. 2 outs. 1-2 the count on Escobar. Escobar fouls it back. And 2-1 since the 6th when Longoria belted the home run, his 13th. For the record, I really like this Escobar, so there you go.
Oh, you know what? That is so poor.
I told you last inning I liked it.
I have it sitting on my mantle at home.
Of course. See? There you are.
Keeps me humble.
And in line. Well, most of the time in line. Foul ball, still 1-2. I would have liked the Madden Gnome had it been bigger and you could put it in the front yard.
Yes.
That needs to go in the front yard.
Yes, it does. Right next to the lawn jockey.
Yeah. Right out by the mailbox.
Gnomes are quite popular. I like them.
Escobar out on strikes. Split. Takes care of the Rays shortstop. 1-2-3 against Tazawa. We go to the 8th. It's 2-1 Boston. 2-1. This game moving into the 8th inning. We welcome you back to tonight's Wednesday night showdown, brought to you by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. David Ortiz will lead off against Joel Peralta. Ortiz, Napoli, and Carp due up. The pitch is a ball, 1-0. McGee 2/3 of an inning and a strikeout. Now Peralta on for the 35th time.
Just continues to be right at the top of the American League in appearances. In fact, he is at the top over the last 2+ years since he's been with the Rays, and his numbers this year fantastic once again.
It's 1-1. So with a 1-1 count, the Rays flip-flop Escobar and Longoria. Two and one. Each team with 4 hits. Rays with a solo home run. The Red Sox with a 2-run home run. Ortiz fouls one out of play.
That pitch right there just speaks to what we talk about with Peralta all the time. Any pitch at any count. 2-1 breaking ball. You're just as likely to see a 2-1 heater or a 2-1 split. And that's what makes him so effective. We just don't know what he's going to do. Constantly changing his patterns. Not overpowering.
So you're holding the ball out there with a split grip to begin with.
Once you go into the glove, you don't have to dig to get to the split. It's already there. Easier to go backwards from that.
Pitch is high.
A lot of guys will hold that ball like a fastball. When you go into the glove, you want the split. You got to split those fingers. You run the risk of that glove flaring.
Yep.
So if you start with the split grip and go into the glove, it's easier to change to the other pitches without fear of tipping.
He's full up. Here he is again, facing the middle of the order. And the 3-2 to Ortiz. Fouls the fastball back. Challenge him there. 3-2.
After falling behind, breaking ball, split, boom. Now you get the full count, and here comes the heater. You may see it again, you may not. David Ortiz, you've got to be ready to cover everything. Yes, the split here. Get that good arm speed out in front again, and then come back with the split.
And he pops him up. Foul ball, long run. Escobar on the move, Got it! Escobar, a nice running catch toward the bullpen to retire Ortiz.
Well, I'll tell you what, Peralta, again, sticks with the fastball, gets the pop-up down the line, and then, Escobar has to cover a ton of ground. Look where he's at. Playing the traditional short, and he's got to go a long way. Tracks it down like a champ.
Right down there in front of the Red Sox bullpen, one away. There's Napoli. Pitch is outside. Peralta came into the game last night in relief of Roberto Hernandez with a couple of runners on to face Napoli. He struck him out. Got ahead of him 0-2 and then struck him out with a fastball up. It's a swing and a miss on a curveball here to take the count to 1-1. Popper toward the left field line. Johnson and Escobar. Escobar out there makes the catch. Wow. Escobar inside that line, calling for it. In the last moment, Johnson veered away.
Yeah.
And Escobar made the grab.
He did. It was impressive. That's Kelly Johnson's ball.
And so that's out number 2. Let's take a look.
Now listen, him getting back there, no doubt, impressive. But Kelly Johnson, that's his, and he's there. He's got the easier angle, the better angle. Apparently, Escobar was quite persuasive.
Well, he wound up under the ball. I mean, Johnson had nothing left to do except vacate. And that's what he did.
Well, he's got to call him off. He's coming in. That's an easy play for him. And he was there to make the play. It wasn't like he was late. You got to call that infielder off. He should not be that deep and catching that ball.
Well, there's Carp. The pitch is down.
Well, put it this way. You like for him to get that deep, but you like the outfielder to call him off.
Well, his angle is better, and it's an easier play for him.
Yeah, and he was there in plenty of time. Whatever, it's an out. That's what it's about now, getting outs and giving that offense an opportunity.
1-0 the count to Carp. Ball that's going to be back into the upper deck.
I think Escobar just called that fan off.
Well, he's covered all the other ground out there. Left field and down near the bullpen.
Well, listen, both of them are impressive.
Really covered some ground.
Yeah.
Hey, and tomorrow, the Kansas City Royals come in. Jeremy Hellickson will open that series against Irvin Santana. And our coverage on Sun Sports begins at 6:30. And we welcome you for the first game of that series tomorrow.
3.5 hours of frivolity and hilarity and hopefully good baseball.
We've got a 2-1 game going tonight. And it's a ball and 2-strike count as Carp fouls it back. 4-0 for Boston, 1-4-1 for the Rays tonight. Top half of inning 8. Quick pitch. Ooh, Carp started to go. The Rays would like the appeal, not coming. And the count is 2-2, so Peralta speeding things up there on that delivery.
Yeah, strategic, trying to catch that hitter off guard.
Upstairs, the count is full.
Tried it again, just got a little bit rushed. Didn't get that hand out in front.
Retired Ortiz and Napoli. And the 3-2 to Carp. It's lined into right, a base hit. Zobrist over. Carp makes the turn, but he'll stay at first. A 3-2, 2-out single for Carp.
Carp continues to impress. He stayed back well on this split by Peralta. Able to lengthen that swing just a little bit. Get that line drive out into right field. Keep this inning alive.
Well, Carp's 2 for 4 tonight. Victorino's going to run for him. How about this? Carp's 15 out of his last 34. I mean, that's hot.
That is, yeah, scorching.
So Victorino is the runner. Saltalamacchia, the hitter. There's a strike at the knees. For 7 with 5 strikeouts against Peralta. Throw to first. Victorino's back in. Victorino 5 of 7 in the steal department. Red Sox have put a runner aboard with 2 outs. Saltalamacchia takes the fastball a little bit wide. There's a 1-6 out of their last 8 here at home. Down by a run in the 8th inning tonight. A cut and a miss. Fastball by Saltalamacchia.
He just, takes 90 miles an hour. This ball's out over the plate. Saltalamacchia gets big and long with that swing underneath. We saw his struggles against Peralta. 5 strikeouts and 7 at-bats.
And the 1-2. He lifts it to the left side. Who else but Escobar is there to make the catch? No runs. 1 hit. No errors, 1 left, and 3 putouts for Yunel Escobar. 2-1 ball.
Twitter poll question of the night. It asks, who do you think is going to hit the most home runs for the Rays this season? You've got 4 choices plus other. You've got hashtag TB1, the guy about to lead off this inning, Matt Joyce with a dozen. Hashtag TB2, Longo, who's hit 3 in a row in 3 straight games. Hashtag TB3, Kelly Johnson at 10. Hashtag TB4, James Loney with 8. Hashtag TB5. Anybody else? Tweet your votes to @SunSportsRays. Don't forget, in our Rays Live postgame show, we'll have the results Our Rays Live postgame show is presented by Checkers. The results of that Twitter poll. Also, the Evan Longoria Power Surge, Joe Madden's press conference, Kelly Nash with clubhouse interviews. And guys, recently after those fan favorites for the giveaway items, people are saying BA should have some giveaway items. Either the Hulk hands, the headband people have suggested, or they want to see the old bobblehead come back of Dwayne and BA. Back to you.
Well, here we go into the bottom of the 8th. Breslow pitching. Nava goes over to play left. Victorino stays on and takes over in right field. Matt Joyce at the plate, and the pitch is down. It's 1-1.
Dwayne, I'd be honored to be on a bobblehead with you. I would want to, much like Todd and Arestas, I would want to be seated a little bit lower than you. So you would have the Johnny Carson seat, a little bit taller. That would be fun.
Really?
That's what Todd does.
Well, I know that, but and you've made mention of that a few times.
Never during a game, though.
No. Well, breaking new ground all the time. 18th appearance for Breslow. 2-1 the count. A ground ball foul outside of first. Napoli guarding the line.
It would be an easy one. An easy giveaway. Not the whole can, but the foam finger. The foam high power left finger.
Yeah.
That would be a cinch. We could probably make them ourselves.
We could be all over town. Maybe we can make them and sell them.
Yeah. Just never the thunder sticks.
Full countdown.
Where was the game that we did with the thunder sticks?
Well, they had something that was
Miami.
Not too good.
Yeah. Oh yes, that's what it was. Not the thunder sticks. It was the Zalas.
Foul ball out of play.
Waiting for a soccer match to break out.
Yeah, there was a strange hum all night.
Yes.
Three-two, the count to Joyce. And a ball went high, towering down the right field line. That ball, however, is foul. Home run distance.
Wait, that's just how close. A 2-1 ball game. Bottom of the 8th inning. And Matt Joyce very close here.
Three-two again. And Joyce is out on strikes.
Matt Joyce just got a little bit too aggressive there and went out of the zone after offering by Breslow. Anxious to make something happen.
Now it's going to be Ben Zobrist to face Breslow, against whom he is 2 for 4. Ben 1 for 3 tonight. The Tapper fouled, strike one. Rays have Kelly Johnson behind Zobrist, so the left-hander Breslow's in there. It's 1-1. Sevy's worked 6 innings, gave up the home run to Longoria. Nozawa worked the 7th. A fly ball down the left field side, beyond the bullpen, out of play. The Rays last inning had Alex Torres up. Now Fernando Rodney is loosening in the Rays bullpen. Uehara has been up and pretty much standing watching the action from the Boston bullpen. Did Zobrist go? Yes, he did on the appeal. Zobrist is out number 2.
Well, here it is. Starts to commit to the swing and just cannot hold up. Tried to pull it back there and too far.
Now Kelly Johnson. He takes it too low. Well, with 2 outs, base is empty. The Rays get Torres back up in the bullpen. Kelly with a bouncing ball foul. Uehara in the bullpen for Boston. Winslow falls behind him 3-1. Evan Longoria is on deck. Uehara starts to toss a few more down the left field line. Staying loose down there. Johnson takes that one for strike 2. Full count.
And that's all right. You're 3-1. You're looking for the fastball. You're not looking for the fastball in that spot. Breslow bores this pitch right to the outside corner. Kelly Johnson says, you know what? Forget that. Hope for a better one here.
And he fouls it. Forcing another one. The Rays have gone 2-6 in the season series against Boston. Shot toward left center field. On the run. Nava can't get it. Ellsbury plays the carom. It's a double for Johnson. And the Rays have a man at second with 2 outs here in a 1-run ball game in the 8th.
Now Kelly Johnson saved his best at bat. Well, maybe not for last, but at least for deep into the ball game, and you hope that that gets him going again. 3-2, another well-located fastball by Breslow. You can see this ball is going to be right on the outside corner, but it was up enough that Kelly could get underneath it and shoot that ball out with some power to the wall. Now the Rays have its chance.
John Farrell out to make a pitching change. This is the Metro BCS call to the bullpen. Not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and description of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Tampa Bay Rays. John Farrell wants the right-hander Koji Uehara. He's in the game with Johnson at second base, 2 outs in the 8th. And Evan Longoria coming up. See Evan, including postseason, 3 for 14 with a home run. That home run in the postseason. And the pitch to Evan is a strike. Longoria homered in the 6th, accounting for the only run for the Rays tonight. They're down 2-1. And that's a strike, putting Evan down 0-2.
Koji Uehara, he comes in just throwing strikes here. Some off-speed offering right here up in the zone for strike 2. And it's amazing the work that he does, the strikeouts that he accumulates without being overpowering. But boy, does he manipulate the zone and out of the zone very, very well.
And a swing and a miss. He strikes out Longoria. Got him on the split. And the Rays leave a runner at second base. We go to the 9th, 2-1 Boston. Two-out threat for the Rays. You see the frustration of Longoria and the elation and then some from Uehara.
You just wonder if this is, you remember the Chris Archer punch out on Daniel Nava.
Yep.
When he kind of fist pumped, jumped, and Nava was kind of staring down a little bit. Then you see him come and find him right here. Makes you wonder.
Well, emotions have been running high in this series. The question earlier in the night, will it carry over? The answer is yes. In one form or another.
That's right, and you're going to have a quick turnaround. Like I said, you go back up to Boston and play them 3 times in 2 days. You spend that much time at the ballpark facing off. It'll be interesting.
Alex Torres will be the new pitcher for the Rays. Will be the 6th of the night. He'll face Will Middlebrooks. The first pitch is a strike, and boy, that's what Torres has been, is a strike-throwing machine.
He is as locked in as a pitcher can be right now.
0-2.
A lot of confidence. His fastball's been good. The changeup has been just excellent. A good breaking ball to boot.
Upstairs with a fastball. 1-2. Strike 3 call. Fastball catches Middlebrooks looking.
I mean, how about it? Change up away, strike 1. Fastball away, strike 2. Show him something up and then close him out in. Well, he just buries this heater. Boom.
Now the shortstop, Stephen Drew. Drew, 0-3. Upstairs. Torres' job to hold Boston, give the Rays a shot on the bottom of the ninth. It's a one-run game at the moment. Rays will have Loney, Jennings, and Scott due up. It's a pop-up. Coming down from third, Longoria makes the catch. 2 outs. So with the bases empty and 2 gone, we'll go back around to the top of the Boston order. Jacoby Ellsbury, who has been on base 3 times tonight with 2 walks and a single. He singled ahead of the Daniel Nava home run. Pitch outside, 1-0. Andrew Bailey up in the bullpen for Boston now. Ground ball to second. Zobrist makes the play, and it's a 1-2-3 ninth. Home half of the ninth coming. 2-1 Boston. Of the ninth inning, just like we promised earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. Daniel Nava's home run in the third is the difference in this game. He connected off Chris Archer in a 10-pitch at bat. The Rays got a run on a Longoria home run in the 6th. Nava's shot the difference right now.
Well, so far Boston pitching has allowed that 2-run homer to hold up. And they will turn to Andrew Bailey to try to finish this out on for the 21st time.
Andrew Bailey follows Aceves, Tazawa, Breslow, and Uehara to the mound.
Well, the Rays had some success off of Andrew Bailey the other night. Game 1 of this series.
He struggled with his command.
Yes, he did.
Now James Loney. Loney looking for his first hit. There's a shot deep to right. It's going to be off the wall. Victorino will play it and hold Loney to a single. Loney jumps on the first pitch. Hits it off the right field wall for a base hit.
Well, an absolute bullet. I mean, he hit it so hard. He hit it. It was, well, it ended up being a single. This ball up in the zone, and he just crushes it. He didn't get out of the box right away, thinking that ball may be out of here, but that was going to be difficult to turn into a double anyway.
So Loney with a long base hit to open the ninth. Now he'll be lifted, and Sam Fold will run for him. Move to first, and Fold is back in. Desmond Jennings at the plate. Bailey gave up a couple runs in the 1 inning he pitched. He walked 3, made 32 pitches in the game here Monday. First base again. Desmond with a walk, otherwise 0 for 2. Pitch is high. A ball, no strikes. Rays put the leadoff man on base for the first time since the 3rd. That's upstairs. Wide. Curveball, 2-0.
This is what we saw the other night. Andrew Bailey flying open, getting quick with that front side, not able to command the ball. I mean, even the fastball that Loney drilled out to right field was going to be a ball if he doesn't swing at it.
Two 2-0 the count to Jennings. And ball 3. Keeping up with everything. A strike, says Copa. Close enough.
Now you're still up in the count, 3-1. This ball looked to be off the plate, but
Goes against Desmond Jennings. Still got to force him back into the zone. Got to come in there again.
3-1. A fly ball to center. Ellsbury coming on for it and makes the catch. 1 away. Now Luke Scott. Luke 0 for 3 tonight. Scott 1 for 4 against Miller. Well, if anybody's due, it would be Luke Scott right now. He has been struggling at the plate. And he takes a fastball for a strike.
Wouldn't that be great? Just end it. Have him end it right here.
Would.
Oh, man. You talk about forgetting the past 50-some at-bats.
Yep. Right now he's 7 for his last 58.
At least forgetting 51 of them.
Time granted by the plate umpire Ron Culpa. Foul ball. This lodges the mask from Saltalamacchia and puts Scott down in the count 0-2. Loney opened this inning with a long single high off the wall and right. Victorino got it back in quickly, and that limited Loney. He hit the ball so hard, limited him to a base hit. Fold running. Jennings went out to center. 2 to Scott. And strike 3 call. Scott caught looking at the breaking ball in the upper part of the zone.
Well, a breaking ball by Bailey, and not one of his better offerings, but just freezes Luke Scott, who's been struggling. Able to get that second out.
Well, here is Jose Lobaton.
Just do it again.
Yep. Goes full. The pitch is a strike to throw. It's not in time. Gold steals second base. So the Rays get the potential tying run to second.
Well, nice job by Sam. See him off and running. Saltalamacchia gets the throw there, but not in time.
Third steal of the year for Sam Fuld. Well, Lobaton opened the 10th inning here Monday. He got behind 1-2 and then homered to right field. The Rays down by a couple at that point, scored 2 to tie it again in the 10th. 1 strike on Lobaton now. And he bounces a foul ball. 0-2. He's been good with men in scoring position, but down 2 strikes right now. Inside. A ball, 2 strikes. Rays 0 for 6 tonight with runners in scoring position. The 1-2. Inside again. 2-2. Hold at second base, 2 outs. And a swing and a miss. It's all over. He got him with a slider, and after that leadoff line shot by Loney, the Rays leave a man aboard to end this game. It's a 2-1 final, and the Boston Red Sox take 2 out of 3 from the Rays here. They win tonight 2-1. The Sevies will get the win, and Archer takes the loss. Tonight's General Motors Player of the Game, Daniel Nava, a 2-run home run in the 3rd, and that turns out to be the difference in this 2-1 final. The Rays out-hit Boston 6-5, but go 0 for 7 with men in scoring position and drop this game 2-1. 2 home runs hit in tonight's game. A total of $24,000 raised for prostate cancer research. To make a donation, you can go online to homerunchallenge.org. The final out. Lobatone missing the slider. 2-1. Boston back in a moment.